Monk Gyatso served as a guardian and mentor to Aang, and was considered one of the greatest airbenders of his time. While we know a decent amount about Gyatso's life through flashbacks before the 100-Year War, there is still a lot that remains unknown about him. One of the most important questions that remains unanswered is how he was able to take out several superpowered firebenders during the events of Sozin's Comet. Well, there's a popular fan theory that's been out there for a while that I think needs to be canon. Based on the new information from the Dawn of Yang Chen book, there's a lot of evidence to support this theory, and it makes total sense why it could be canon. So stick around to find out. We are first introduced to Monk Gyatso in the very beginning of the series, when Aang is talking to Katara and Sokka about his life at the Air Temple. He explains that Monk Gyatso was an extremely skilled bender, who many considered to be the greatest airbender during his time. Gyatso served as a father figure to Aang, and was heavily involved in training him as the Avatar. We even see a statue dedicated to Gyatso at the Southern Air Temple. He was known for his kindness, sense of humor, and interest in Pai Sho. During the events of Sozin's Comet, the Fire Nation raided the entirety of the Air Nation in an attempt to kill the Avatar, since they knew the next element in the cycle was air. Unfortunately, Monk Gyatso died during these events. Aang eventually finds his skeleton after taking Katara and Sokka to the Southern Air Temple. Aang is obviously extremely upset and goes into the Avatar state from his rage, where Katara and Sokka have to calm him down. So, from the images of Aang finding Monk Gyatso's skeleton, it's clear that he was able to take out a dozen or so firebenders before he died. It's also important to keep in mind that these firebenders were superpowered by Sozin's Comet, which just shows how powerful and how much of a master Monk Gyatso was. What's interesting is that Monk Gyatso's skeleton doesn't appear burned in any way. A popular fan theory came out a while ago, saying that Monk Gyatso pushed all of the air out of the room in order to take out all of the firebenders at once, and incidentally taking out himself as well. There's a lot of evidence that supports this theory. First, like I said, his skeleton doesn't appear burned in any way, and is only moderately damaged, but still in good shape for being a 100-year-old skeleton. Next, none of the clothes or his airbender necklace are burned in any way. The fact that they are still on his skeleton proves that no fire came into contact with his body. Without any air in the room, the firebenders would not have been able to create any sort of flames to firebend and take him out that way. Next, the building or shed that they're in was mostly still intact and not severely damaged by any fire, until Aang destroys it by going into the Avatar state. Even though the building seems to be made out of some type of concrete or stone, there would at least be some burn marks all over the place if the firebenders were actually able to bend. Finally, the Dawn of Yang Chen book provides hints towards the origin of this technique. Yang Chen used the technique of removing all of the air out of the room to take out several combustion benders near the conclusion of the book. This shows that this technique has existed for hundreds of years and has been passed down for hundreds of years in the Air Nation. With Monk Gyatso being as powerful as he was, it's almost certain that he was taught this technique at some point in his life. Since we know this technique has existed for hundreds of years, it's pretty reasonable to say that it is one of the sub-bending forms of airbending, similar to how generating lightning for firebenders and metal bending for earthbenders. Now, with all of this being said, it's important to ask who all knows this secret airbending technique. Well, in my opinion, I think this is a technique that was very secretive and only taught to a select group of people. Definitely the airbending masters were taught this technique, and we know that the Avatar was taught it as well. It was likely only used as a last resort in desperate situations, and was not intended for everyday use. We first see it used by Yang Chen, then theorized to be used by Gyatso, and finally Zahir using a more direct version when he killed the Earth Queen. It still proves to be an effective technique, but probably not something that is widespread. It still somewhat contradicts the culture of the Air Nation, since its purpose is to either suffocate people to the point of passing out, or straight up killing them. One idea that I really like is that Guru Lahima was the original creator of this technique, and that's how Zahir knew how to use it in the Legend of Korra. Of course, we know that Zahir has a lot of knowledge about the culture of the Air Nation, so it's pretty reasonable to assume he learned this technique along with his ability to fly by studying the life of Guru Lahima. Similar to how combustion bending has evolved over time, this airbending technique seems to have evolved over time as well. Yang Chen used it on 2 people while located in a different room, then Gyatso using it to take out a dozen or so firebenders, and also taking himself out, then finally Zahir using an adapted form on a singular person. It's clear that this technique is extremely deadly, with the ability to directly take out people one at a time, and also using it to suppress elements like fire and take out large groups of people. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. With this airbending technique being confirmed to be canon, there's no reason why this popular fan theory about Gyatso can't be canon as well. It makes so much sense given the evidence and the status of Gyatso as a master, and the long history of the use of this technique. It would be super cool to learn more about the origins of this technique, and whether or not it dates back thousands of years to the time of Guru Lahima. Hopefully we'll learn more about it in the second Dawn of Yang Chen book, or the Legend of Korra comic that will be featuring Guru Lahima. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks so much for watching!